Susan, I believe you are the call to order. Do you want me to call to order?
Yeah, I don't know. Please, I don't know how
Okay.
my I adjusted that.
All right, so we're going to approve today's agenda and minutes from 1/24/25 annual meeting. Um, all in favor?
I so move.
I so
Second.
move. Can we get a second?
Second.
I'll do second.
All right. Agenda minutes from the previous meeting are approved. We're going on to the treasurer's report. Do we have any updates on Amy's side for the treasury report?
She didn't offer me any updates on that. I'm sorry. If I get some, I'm happy to pass them along.
No,
Okay.
but that's okay. I talked to her earlier this week and she said we are status quo.
So all is well, nothing has changed on that front. And hoping that we bring in a little bit of cash from our bilingual workshop, which is old business. So as you all know, we have our bilingual workshop coming up next Tuesday. All of our speakers are accounted for. The committee personnel that's been working on this on the back end has been Amy Heath, Mark Bodwin, myself, Mike Sills, Susan Henson, and Michael Levy. Thank you all for your contributions on that front. It'll also be in San Antonio on the 20th and in Houston on the 21st. San Antonio is the one that has been doing the bilingual workshop for over the past 20 years, and they reached out to us last year. And we had our first successful event where we had, I believe, 130 or so attendees. And Houston, this is their first go around doing this. And I think their numbers are a little low, but I think that as they keep doing this, their numbers will continue to grow. As we had said earlier, our speakers are all confirmed. Um, Michael and I will be attending the AV portion, so we'll be helping people get microphones as needed throughout the event and getting their presentations online. Is Amy going to be in charge of talking throughout the event, the MC?
In charge of what?
Is Amy our MC?
Yes, she said that she would moderate.
Okay. Susan, um, do you think that it would be a good idea for me to just go over like 1 minute quick presentation on the accomplishments of TBUFC throughout the year?
That's a good lunch thing.
You want me to do that during lunch?
Hmm.
Okay.
That's so good.
Okay. Or right before the raffle.
Right. And awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it right because people kind of like do their own thing. I check out. I usually don't listen to what people are saying during lunch.
I know.
I'm just saying. I don't.
No.
So I'll do it right before the raffle. I'll be real quick. I think it's good to show what we've been doing,
Yeah.
Might as well while we have people's attention.
And it's quick and it's easy.
Mm-hmm. Registration. So we're charging $100 for this event, and we're giving people a discount code to save $20 when they register if they are a member. And as you know, anyone who does register for an event that is hosted by TBUFC automatically becomes a member for 1 year. And so hopefully that'll help people come from the previous year and they can get their little discount. The registration price also includes a fee that ISA charges for the registration process. And I don't believe that we're getting charged for the software that translates English or Spanish to English or to any other language this time around because I had already paid for it. Is that true, Susan?
Yes, I think so. I believe
Okay.
so.
But
If
in the
there-
future, their costs are going to go up.
If there was a charge, it would be nominal, like $1.50 to $2.
Yeah. Okay. So not too expensive. The volunteers for this event are going to be Texas tree surgeons. They've helped us in the past. They've been very good. So they'll be coming in and out, getting coffee, uh, getting drinks, and setting up for the food when it arrives. And they will also be helping to give people food during the lunchtime. As far as the vendor coordination, I'll be going to Plano Power and Richardson Saw tomorrow to pick up some of the giveaways and raffle prizes, as well as getting Plano Power to register as a vendor for the event. I did send them all the information email. Has anyone else officially signed up to be part of or to come as a vendor?
I, Latech, who was with us last year, has reached out. I'm going to follow up right after this meeting, as well as J.L. Matthews.
Great.
They definitely want to be at our site. They wanted to go to San Antonio, but the cost is too high there. Latech would like to be at all 3 locations.
Great.
So I'm gonna talk to him and see what we can come up with. I
Is
talked,
that the guy that had all the climbing gear?
yes,
Yeah, I mean that's a perfect event for them. You couldn't write a better event.
exactly.
Yeah.
But-
Good. So I'll work on getting Plano registered. Like I said, I've already sent him the link, but um, the gist I get from this guy is that he's so busy that he kind of just needs to be reminded in person.
Right. And Rainbow
Mhm.
went on site and did their sponsorship donation.
Great. Are they paying for lunch?
No, just their donation is $750.
Perfect. Great. On-site setup lunch has already been taken care of by Amy, which is great, as has breakfast. Now, what I don't know is if snacks and drinks are included with lunch or if we need to purchase some of those things like water bottles separately.
We we need to get water and I think she has snacks covered.
So just water?
Yes, I believe we just need water. I'll
Okay.
ask her about I'll ask her about snacks.
What about coolers? And because usually the event place has coolers, so we've used their coolers in the past.
Yes.
So we would just need ice, and then I mean I could just go to Costco. It's like $3.50 for 24 bottles. So cheap.
Yeah, you can buy ice. That's easy.
Yeah, we
Just
can send Amy's help to go get ice for us. I think we can just have room temperature water in the morning, and then once we get going, we can send someone to get ice. It's always chaotic in the morning.
it's gonna be cold.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold. We should just keep the water outside. Hey, just to let you know, I know this is slightly off topic, but they are talking about a winter storm on Tuesday
I know.
and Wednesday.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. Tuesday night though.
Yeah, so we'll kind of have to watch the weather and you know, see how it plays. Cross your fingers.
Amen.
Mhm.
Setup and teardown is going to be by us. If you're a TBUFC board member, please come. If you haven't registered yet, please register and try to get other people to come. We need as many people here as possible. I registered, so I paid my registration fee, but I did get a $20 discount. And the venue, as you all know, is at the Texas A&M AgriLife Center. We'd already talked about vendors, rainbow donation. As far as budget goes, I guess Amy's not here, but you know, we have our speaker that will be required to pay.
It'll probably run us around 6,000.
We're about 6,000.
So we need to bring in at least 60 people to break even.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're gonna get pretty close to that. So, Blake, if you've got people at your work that you can send, sign them up.
I've signed up 2 or 3. I
Okay.
sent mass email 2 weeks ago and really didn't get any response.
Megan just
Oh, yeah, I
checked
just
that
saw
we're
that.
at 72.
I think the numbers will be way up. We have a meeting at 2.
Yeah, Megan just sent a text saying that we're at 72.
Amen. We
So
broke
we're at a really good spot.
Yeah, we are. It's fantastic.
Thank you, Megan. And then speaker gifts, Susan, you've taken care of that. Anything you want to share with board?
They have a really nice cross canvas bag, like a tactical bag, with a handle on the top and flap over the top goes over your shoulder, and a safety long sleeve class 3 shirt, safety shirt, and a clicker.
Clicker. I love the clicker. It's the best gift I've ever gotten, Susan.
Well, they'll get that here, and then it'll go with them to San Antonio and on to Houston.
Perfect. And for those of
And
you who don't know, we are doing an award. I think we're doing 2 awards, right, Susan?
yes, but we're just doing one up here.
Okay.
To
Okay. So we're doing one for Eduardo. We bought him a gift.
in San Antonio, they're doing 2.
Yeah.
One to Eduardo and one to Mark Duff.
Okay.
And then in Houston, they just are going to, and there's a PowerPoint that we have on Eduardo, and Mr. Cruzy is putting one together for Mr. Duff in San Antonio.
Great. Wow, I'm glad our numbers are up. That's awesome.
And then I
Wonderful.
talked to them about, we should think about putting an award together that would travel between sites. Maybe
Cool. Yeah.
presented here the first year, San Antonio the second year, Houston the third.
Yeah.
Just an idea, or start in San Antonio, take it to Dallas, and then to Houston. I don't know, just an idea.
Okay.
Because when people come out to cover your event, anybody can throw an educational event, but when you start giving people awards for, doing something and there's a story, they'll come cover you.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about, we can talk about that later, but I think we should be doing a yearly project award as well. Or
Okay.
kind of award for,
Sorry, so carry
Yeah.
on.
yeah. Well, let's, see what they do, how they do it over at Cross Timbers on the 27th or
I think 27th.
27th, and then we can talk about it next meeting. That kind of covers everything. The travel arrangements have all been completed. And I guess we'll get some bills from that once the event's over, and that'll probably go to us and Amy.
Most of the air arrangements are being handled through San Antonio, and then the speakers are handling their own arrangements in Dallas and Houston. But in San Antonio, they stay with the Burketts.
Okay, great. Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about in regards to the bilingual training? Any questions? No, so we move on. Shadekeeper training, that's you, Susan.
We had 20 participants show up February 1st, and we pruned apple, peach, plum. I don't think there were any pear out there, but we identified some problems from everything from volcano mulch to borers, and put a plan together. But only a handful of those had been through the original training, so we had to do some training on site about how to make a proper cut, bark bridge, and then explain this is not what you're going to do at home to your shade trees.
Right.
But
Yeah,
the next
we've learned
training
some of that
tour
from
is
you.
set for November 15th, 2025. That's a Saturday.
Okay.
And then, of course, we will provide training in additional locations as requested to fit the community's needs.
Saluting branches. So I'm in the process. Preston is not here. Is Blake, do you know anything about saluting branches?
I mean, I know about it. I don't know specifics as far as this year. Is Preston I guess, going to be the contact this year since Chris are gone?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Preston, I can, if he's not willing to do it, I can help with I've got 2 or 3 guys that have helped me in the past with Chris McMaster on
Yeah.
the park maintenance side.
Okay. Well, I've gotten approval from my side to host saluting branches in Plano this year if we decide to go in that direction.
Okay.
There is a park or a cemetery that's in a park and it has veterans in there. And we have about 20 to 25 cedar elms that need to go completely. And so we thought that it would kind of be a good idea to have Plano staff do that. And it'd be more palpable to the public if it was kind of part of a program. And then we would replant trees as a separate event outside of saluting branches at that park, um, you know, in November or something like that. Maybe for our Arbor Day event in Plano.
That's
So that's
cool.
kind of the plan I have, Susan. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I know we've been in Dallas quite a bit the last 4 or 5 years. And I didn't know what direction we were going there, so I was just looking on behalf of Plano to do that.
That was basically, we'll always do DFW. And then we had McMaster's and Preston, both veterans. And so I think Chris was the one who initially took it on.
Yeah. Blake,
So
you want to find out who?
Yeah. I think, well, last year, I think Carlos Ortiz, I don't know if you know him, he's with Dallas Forestry's
yeah,
division. He's kind of the one that took it on last year. He was the point of contact through the emails and all that.
he worked with a lady in the office too that assisted him
Yeah.
because he's out in the field.
So,
kind of a-
I'll
think
get with
it's-
him and we can kind of converse and see what is going on with that.
Yeah, can you just get a feel from him if he's got a location already slated for this fall? If not, we've got the city of Plano.
Okay.
We can do multiple events, right? So
Oh,
not limited to
we
one.
can support them.
Yeah, well, Plano we can support. So
Dallas, we can support.
and I think Dallas, I think the challenge is if the event goes onto private property, it becomes more challenging because you need people to donate their services. But when it's on park property or public property, it's a lot easier to get staff to help, at that site. So
Mhm.
it's going to be public. I think yours would be public, so I don't see an
Yeah.
issue with having to get any contacts and getting people to donate their time and services.
Well, now's the time to get it into the pipeline.
Yeah, I'm writing a proposal to my park director for this whole event. So
And Rainbow will more than likely go back out to DFW because DFW is a site that requires some of their applications.
okay.
And they
Rainbow
really,
usually provides lunch. Is that what they do?
yeah, they did.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. So if we could just reach out to your contacts, Blake, and then we'll between now and our next meeting next month, you got like 5 weeks.
Sounds
So
good.
we have plenty of time. EAB and additional assistance in urban forestry.
Really no update. I think probably, was it March? We're going to start counting again, maybe putting out the traps. March, April.
Do you put out the traps with Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mike and I were talking about that. We're going to be putting our traps up in Plano. So I'm going to be
Okay. Good.
do it right.
And I think last year we had, 50% of the traps had positives.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah. Are you guys actively removing or treating trees?
Yes.
And are you treating trees only in maintained areas?
For the most part, yeah, unless they're big enough, I guess, or important enough, if that makes sense.
Okay.
yeah.
And really, Karen was the one that heading all that up, so I don't have any numbers. And now that she's gone, I don't know if Preston's taken that over,
Right.
but we got to figure that out too.
Yeah, because we're kind of going in a different direction. In Plano, we're just removing, anytime we
Yeah.
have a CIP project at a park, I say just remove all the ash, and it's the best time because we can replant
Yeah.
at the same time. So I think the bigger issues are the ash and the center medians along the roadways that are going to become hazards, along the roads. Same thing there, my CIP median projects, we're removing, well, I'm locating where the highest percentage of ash trees are and we're removing them. So just keep on keeping on,
Yep.
to stay
Yep.
ahead of the game as much as possible on that front. Can you scroll down, Mike, or whoever?
Sure.
There we
Oh,
go.
and Mr. President, we had a comment from Jess about a lead on a location for saluting branches,
Oh,
possibly.
very cool. Do we know where it's at?
What's up, Jess?
Hi, I'm brand new. I was thinking we have a Veterans Memorial here in Veterans Park at Balch Springs. I don't know if you've ever done anything out here, but we could definitely use some more trees over there. So perhaps reach out to somebody within Parks and Rec here. I can always give them a heads up. Just a thought.
Well, when you host the event, then you have to support that event with large equipment,
Gotcha. Okay.
front end loaders and dump trucks and chippers and that type of thing. Well, some of the guys that work will bring chippers and stuff, but you have to move the brush, and so there's some logistics to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Is that public property?
Yes, it is.
So we would need to contact the Park and Recreation Department. Maybe we can, reach out to them and see if that's something they'd be interested in. And it doesn't even have to be this year, it could be the following year. And just kind of
Mhm.
create that relationship with Balch Springs and see if they'd be interested in that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, there won't be much brush removal. It's pretty bare for the most part, outside of regular landscaping and a few trees and the ponds. But so I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. But
So it sounds like
it's a thought.
you're talking more about planting trees?
Yes.
Okay.
Am I confused as to what's going on here?
No. Saluting branches is really focused on more
Mhm.
of the maintenance aspect of existing trees where they haven't had,
Mhm.
day-to-day tree care. I don't think they do tree planting. Susan, can you correct me there if I'm wrong?
Yes. We planted trees at the first saluting branches.
You
Uh,
did.
Mhm.
Problem that we've had at some of our locations, like in Dallas, we're working some secluded cemeteries, and we don't know where all the graves are. So we can't just go out and plant. But yes, we planted before. That's part of it.
Right. You don't want to dig up someone's old grave. I got you. Okay, well,
I'm still learning, so I appreciate you giving me some time there.
yeah. Jess, do you have any contacts with Balch Springs?
I am actually on the Parks and Rec department.
Oh.
I'm sorry, the board and flood and drainage. Yeah, I know the lead. Well,
Okay.
yeah, manager for Parks and Rec is one of my buddies. So,
Yeah. If
oh,
you
and my partner is also on council. So,
Yeah, well, that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you want to let them know about this event and gauge a feeling on how they are about it, we're definitely open to doing that, there as well.
right. Well, I've been trying to find more ways to get Salt Springs into more uh well, taking care of our trees and our forests out here. It's just about 74% covered, and that is dwindling because nobody's been really paying attention to it. So that's been kind of my goal out here. But I don't want to take up too much time. I'm sorry.
No, you're great.
No.
No, I mean, an event like this could bring awareness to,
Mhm.
Tree City USA, and get Mike involved in the Texas A&M Forest Service and kind of get him jumped on the right path. So I think this is always a good place to start.
Amen.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Web update, Michael Levy.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Just a real quick update. If you haven't been onto our website in a while, we have been having lots of new content getting on there, especially with our upcoming workshop on Tuesday. Very exciting numbers that I know that Megan shared. So I'm really looking forward to another great workshop coming up. And again, lots of great content coming on there. We're getting. I'm going to try to get a lot of pictures at our event as well on Tuesday to make sure we showcase all the great things that are happening. But if you haven't been on there in a while, please go and visit. We have a lot of new upcoming stuff that's going on that A&M Forest Service has shared, as well as with ISAT. We've had lots of great content to keep everybody up to date on what's happening and references to those websites. So we're continuing to keep everybody informed on what's going on. And again, any kind of feedback or any other comments y'all might have that make it even better, please let me know. But we're just continuing to keep on keeping everything current and up to date. And that's all I've got, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mike. Susan, do we want to put the Cross Timbers event on our page?
I'm not
Oh.
sure.
Huh?
Michael?
Oh, I do have a post basically to the registration for the CTUFC conference on the 27th.
Okay, cool. Good.
Yeah, there's a graphic for that.
I don't know that they're posting ours, but we're gonna have that conversation at the event and see if we can't be good neighbors and
Absolutely.
use each other to promote each other. I think that's a win-win.
Certainly.
Social media. Mary is not here. Michael, I'll be sending you some information about the Texas Forever Fest that's held in Plano every year in March.
Okay. Yeah.
We're going to be having, this is kind of the end. We had the, for those of you who don't know, we had the Burr Oak Artist Challenge. The oldest tree in North Texas fell down. It was in Plano. It was over 400 years old.
Yeah.
And we provided people with the opportunity to get a piece of the wood from the tree and create an art piece out of it. So we're going to have 16 artists who have made art out of the wood, and they're going to be at Texas Forever Fest on March 22nd. And I think it's from 11 to 6 o'clock. So it's a really cool event. Some guy's bringing out a skid loader to offload his wood piece. So I don't even know what it looks like yet, but it should be really cool. We were just real happy to be able to have people in Plano take a part of the tree and
That
historically.
definitely needs to go up on our social media.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll send you that information,
Okay. That sounds great, Mark.
and I'll be promoting TBUFC there as well.
Awesome.
The Urban Forest Master Plan Workshop, that is a completely different audience than our bilingual workshop. Our bilingual workshop is really, geared towards your typical landscaper who starts mowing grass and gets into the tree business, and then all the climbers and stuff like that. This audience is more geared towards the cities and getting them to become Tree City USA, getting them familiar with the grant process that the Texas A&M Forest Service has. Which includes urban foresters. We like to speak about tree inventories, all that kind of fun stuff that urban foresters do. This will be our third year, and this will be in June, and we have our speakers pretty much confirmed. Is that correct, Susan?
Yes, sir.
So we've got a good lineup. We've already ahead of the game, so we can almost really we could probably get that one put online pretty soon.
Yes, sir. I just let me reach out after this to our speakers to reconfirm.
Okay. And we're doing that in San Antonio as well, just Dallas and San Antonio? Are we doing this in San Antonio as well?
Yes, yes, sir. What we call it, New Braunfels.
New Braunfels. Okay, there it is right there. Perfect. Speakers Bureau. Susan?
We haven't put up all of our information as of yet, and I need to develop a speakers bureau form so people can fill it out and ask for speakers and then get all our articles up.
Right.
But we still are posting articles about forestry continuously or culture on the web.
Mhm.
Awesome.
So we just need to formalize that. I need some assistance in that area. A volunteer would be nice, so we'll keep looking until we find somebody to help.
And that would be for like monthly articles and stuff, or just,
I have all this information, but it needs to be cataloged and categorized, and
oh,
we used to look at it, you know?
okay. So maybe we can create like a,
Maybe after all this,
yeah,
May
like a
be able to help
sub.
with
Go,
I'm
Jess.
pretty good at those things. I'm pretty good at organizing and cataloging, so and researching. So if you want to reach out to me, give me an idea of what you need help with, then I may be able to help.
well, sweet, that would be awesome. I'll reach out to you after this and just let me get
Awesome.
through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I'm not going to Houston, okay?
Thank you, Jess. It's very helpful.
Yeah,
That's
thank you, Jess.
it's kind of what we need. We need, I mean, it's kind of
I'll
just
do
by
all I
committee.
can.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, Mark,
Yes,
Jim Potok.
Yes, sir.
On that, item 10,
yes.
June 22nd shows to be a Sunday.
Well, then
Ha.
make it the 21st.
Yeah, that is exactly, you're right. It is a Sunday. So we need to change that.
Thank you for catching that, Jim.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's probably the 24th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
24th
Yeah,
and
kinda
26th will be
yeah, June
Tuesday and
24th.
Thursday of that week.
I think it should be 24th and, is it
26th.
24th and 26th?
Yes.
yes, 2-4 and 2-6, excuse me.
Okay,
Good catch.
good catch. Thank you, Jim.
Bingo.
Could you go play for the Chiefs?
That's right.
Don't find you handsome, at least find you useful.
That's right. Right. I don't think we have a Texas Tree Trails update. I did talk to Steve earlier this week or last week, but it was not related to Texas tree trails. So we can go ahead and skip over that. Me, the TBUFC representative for the Texas Urban, oh my gosh, is it? I always forget if it's council or Congress. I think it's.
Congress,
You sure it's Congress?
Congress.
Okay. That basically is a meeting that's held twice a year and involves the Cross Timbers Urban Forestry Council, TBUFC, and I can't remember the other one, Susan.
Houston,
Houston,
uh-huh,
the Houston
San
Council.
Antonio, Dallas,
Last
and
year was our first year on it. I believe this council, this Congress that we're talking about, they do get some of the funding sent back from the state of Texas for the tree license plates that get put on vehicles, and then we end up splitting some of that funding with the three councils. And our first year was last year. We had an online meeting in the spring, and then another meeting in the fall that was in person. And so we should be having that meeting coming up soon. And usually I go there and possibly Susan, but we'll decide that later. I haven't heard
Yeah.
anything back from them since our last meeting. And then Mike Sills is not here. He does the long-term and continued planning development. So Mike Sills works for the Texas A&M Forest Service, and he helps provide guidance for cities in his area, uh, I think 13 to 14 different counties that he's in charge of. So a lot of cities, basically north of Dallas, or including Dallas, but north and beyond. And so he's not here today, but I know that he continually works on that on a day-to-day basis. Our next meeting is on March 27th, 2025 at 12 o'clock via Zoom. And we can have a quick little roundtable. Does anyone want to share anything with the team before we adjourn?
just, I think we're really rocking along. We just need to keep doing what we're doing, reaching out and building community.
That's it. I have something to share. So today is my wedding anniversary, and it'll be 21 years.
Congratulations, Mark. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yep, so
That's a
super excited
milestone.
about that. We're going to Mo Hat Bao. It's a fusion of Vietnamese and French food, and it's a Michelin star chef. Should be pretty cool.
Nice.
You have to dress up all nice and fancy.
Have you been there before?
No,
It's
have you?
fun. Oh,
Is it
yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's down the street from where we used to live.
Oh,
It's really
yeah,
yummy.
down in Lakewood, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, super excited. Do people dress nice when they go there?
It changed owners a couple of years ago, and honestly, I haven't been back since. But it's it's a pretty small space. They extended some seating outside, but it's in an interesting area where you're kind of also near a gas station. But I mean that in the nicest possible way. It's like it's a really fun time. We've gone. My husband and I went, I think, for 1 year for our anniversary, and I think another time for just like a date night or whatever. I think you can wear like just casual stuff. I mean, not like flip-floppy casual, but like, nice jeans, that sort of
Yeah, I
thing.
was looking for an excuse to dress up nice. So
Well, I think you can choose your own adventure and definitely do that, and you'll be in fine company. But I think you could also do like a, more cash option.
business casual. Cool. All right. Um, so I motion to end the meeting. Can I get, I don't even know how to
Mr.
say it.
President, I move with that we adjourn the meeting, but before that, would you check and see if we can get into AgriLife from 4 to 5 on Monday?
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow.
And then we're going to have the speakers dinner at Mi Cocina,
Oh, yes.
where we had it last year.
Okay. And who's invited to that? The speakers and
And board,
board? Okay.
What time was the dinner again, Susan?
5.
At 5?
Yeah. Perfect.
Walk through from 4 to 5, dinner at 5, because it's right.
I'll
it's
call Gretchen
close.
over at Texas A&M.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I blocked off my whole afternoon on Monday. Just in case. Cool. So I motion to adjourn the meeting.
You have a motion. You have a second. I say you just end it.
End it. Meeting adjourned.